Imagine a time, tens of thousands, even millions of years ago. A world that hadn't yet known cities, highways, or skyscrapers. This was Earth in its wild and savage past. Endless stretches of savanna, mysterious dense forests and ice mountains piercing the sky. And so begins an epic tale of struggle, fear, and persistence in this world. This is not a story of kings or kingdoms, but a story of our species at its most vulnerable. A story of our ancestors, the half-ape men, fighting just to see the sun rise on the next day. Because in this world, they were not the hunters, they were the hunted. This era, which we know as the Pleistocene Epoch, was the kingdom of giants. On the frigid plains of Eurasia, herds of woolly mammoths, the size of modern elephants, shook the ground with every step. Their majestic, curved tusks were not merely ornaments. They were lethal weapons essential for survival. In the bushes, the apex predator lurked with terrifying patience. The Smilodon, or Sabertooth Cat, with its dagger-length fangs, was capable of tearing through even the largest prey in an instant. Every movement on the plain could be the last. However, not all giants were carnivores. Megatherium, the 6-meter-tall giant ground sloth, roamed the American continents. Although a herbivore, its huge claws and incredible strength made it a creature to be avoided. And this is only a small fraction of them. There were woolly rhinos, giant deer with antlers as wide as a car, and Glyptodon, an ancient armadillo the size of a Volkswagen car. This world was a stage for the Titans, and amidst them lived a creature that was small, slow, and seemingly defenseless, our ancestors. Long before Homo sapiens emerged, the stage of evolution was filled by our predecessors. From Australopithecus, who first dared to walk upright on 2 feet, freeing their hands for other tasks, up to Homo Habilis, the handyman, whose slightly larger brain gave him a brilliant idea: to break stones to create the world's first tools. These stone tools were a revolution. A sharp cutting edge, a simple hand axe, became the difference between life and death. With these tools, they could cut meat from carcasses left by predators, break open bones to get the nutritious marrow, and dig for tubers. Then, Homo Erectus, the upright man, appeared. They were taller, smarter, and bolder. They were no longer just scavengers. They began to hunt in groups, using collective intelligence to corner animals much larger than themselves.
This will feed the village.
And then they discovered the greatest force in the universe: fire. With fire, the dark and cold night became bright and warm. Tough, raw meat became soft and easily digestible, providing more energy for their constantly expanding brains. Most importantly, fire was a shield. Fierce predators that feared nothing, it turned out, were terrified of the dancing tongues of flame.
Run!
Daily life was a gamble. Every morning, these small groups of early humans left their caves or shelters with one goal: to find food without becoming food themselves. Hunting a mammoth was not a one-person job. It required strategy, communication, and immense courage. They would work together, driving the giant toward a cliff or a mud trap. They would use stone-tipped spears, throwing them repeatedly, not to kill instantly, but to wound and weaken the giant until it bled out. However, danger was everywhere. As we can imagine in this skein, confrontations with giant fauna, like massive ancient snakes or giant crocodiles at the river's edge, were brutal fights. Every member of the group had a role. Some distracted, while others attacked from the side. Losing one member could mean the destruction of the entire group. They learned to read tracks, understand animal behavior, and know every corner of their territory. They were true survival experts. Their brains were their primary weapon, and cooperation was their strongest shield. Slowly but surely, the wheels of destiny began to turn. While many of the giant animals were highly specialized for specific climates and foods, early humans were incredibly adaptable creatures. As the ice ages came and went, drastically changing the landscape, early humans were able to survive. Their constantly evolving brains allowed them to create better tools, clothing from animal hides to keep warm, and more complex hunting strategies. They began to develop language, enabling them to share knowledge from one generation to the next. They didn't just learn from experience, but also from the stories of their elders. As thousands of years passed, the giants began to disappear. Drastic climate changes, and perhaps the hunting pressure from increasingly clever humans, caused the world of the titans to collapse. One by one, the mammoths, smilodons, and megatheriums vanished from the face of the earth. And amidst that mass extinction, our species, Homo Sapiens, finally emerged. We inherited the Earth that the giants had left behind. The long struggle of our predecessors had paved the way for us to become the rulers of this planet. Their story is our legacy. The persistence to survive, the intelligence to innovate, and the ability to cooperate are etched into our DNA. Every time we face a challenge, every time we work together to achieve a goal, we channel the spirit of our ancestors who once looked a Sabertooth Cat in the eye and refused to give up. They are proof that true strength does not always lie in size or sharp fangs, but in the power of the mind and the bond of community. They are the beginning of all our stories.